Hey guys, if you love QF's content on our free Sundays and Thursday sessions, then please visit our Patreon page in the description and sub to the Black Kluge tier or higher for full access to not only our bonus weekly Tuesday night shows and the alternate Sunday shows you've been missing, but also to the exclusive episodes not available to the lower tiers. It's roughly the price of one coffee a month, and nobody at Starbucks will make you laugh like we do for that kind of scratch. In addition, when you sub to the Black Kluge tier, you'll get 2 weeks advance access to each Thursday session on Patreon before it makes it to YouTube.
Are you ever driven in your career? Not anymore, probably, but like in the beginning when you start getting real success and you go, fuck you, Bluebird. You know, I hope the people who work there see me now. Does that kind of drive it like a little bit? Like you need someone who pissed on you early on? You have the best revenge for all the people that called you cunt.
For all those cunts.
Yeah, for all those cunts. They go now, hey, that Emily Blunt, like they know it's you.
Oh, no, it's Blunt now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
it's Blunt now.
Can you imagine
Blunt to you.
if you became the cunt like The Rock, and then it would be like, hi, Steven Spielberg calling for the cunt. It would be really good.
We should pitch this to Disney for the poster. They will love it. It's right.
What I'm saying is, like, I find that the greatest thing about fame. Like, it must have been such a charge. Like, did you date that girl for a while, and then all of a sudden, like, she's probably so aware of your career, and like, I dated that guy, and she's probably like, oh, fuck, I wish I could have married him or something, you know what I mean? When you got on Saturday Night Live, you start to get famous, and, you know, you start hearing from these fucks who were picking on you. And what is that? Do you just want to say to them, why don't you just go take a flying fuck for yourself? Because I needed you guys back when I was heavy and I wasn't the man, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, what is that like for you? Did you have the satisfaction of, you know, grabbing one of these guys and going, fuck off? Speaking of Val Kilmer, so he helped you to prepare for your role in Mask, right?
Yes.
He was useful in that respect.
Right.
When you started to get into movies, that was the most mind-blowing thing of all. I would think that was the best fuck you to everyone who said you never would be an actress. Because your solo career is going so well now, are you now able to like yell at the girls in Black Panther and kind of say to them like, you know, screw off if they like make a stupid idea or suggestion? Are you now?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I mean, you're more famous than the rest of them, aren't you? In a sense, you're more successful.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, you are.
I'm
You
not.
really are. You've done it. You completely outshine them, which is fantastic.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's the best feeling in the world. That's the best feeling in the world. When I went to #1 in radio and I was better than everyone else, it was the best.
Stop it, no.
Did you ever say to your agent, my God, this is what I've been dreaming of? I can shut the other girls up?
No.
Do you think they're jealous of your success, Rosé?
Not at all.
Seriously?
I think, no. Because I think we all know, like,
Welcome, ladies and gents, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm Fillmore, your host, a.k.a. Jim Fix, and with me back into the Quivers universe is Lady K, a.k.a. Kayla. How are you, my dear?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
And right before Thanksgiving, guys, so we know that you're giving thanks for this saga to continue as it is. And incidentally, folks, the Colford saga will continue in the new year because I got in touch with Benjamin this past weekend and he's just mega busy and can't continue just yet. And normally I would just, you know, go forward it a little bit and just do solo episodes without him. But I don't want to do that to him. I think he loves doing it when he can, but he's just super busy. So we haven't forgotten about it. It's just going to be put on the back burner until he can get some weekends free because that's usually when we record.
I think he's worth the wait.
Yeah, I think so too. And I normally, like, if it was something like incidental or something not that important, I suppose I would just do one by myself. But for in terms of this book, however, because we've got more than a third of it done, I would say. How many pages? Yeah, it says 317. Yeah, we're over a third. So we're making good progress. This time, guys, when we left off, we were on page 119. She had just, regained her voice after explaining her molestation at Summit. And she's, as you recall, she was one hell of a strong bitch. That's what that's what she was called. I guess she thought I need some street lingo to make me.
Oh yeah, she's so tough.
Right. So we're at the bottom of the page, the last paragraph on page 119, and here's the audio. Workshop junkie.
I was incredibly grateful to the staff of Summit for having created a safe haven where such a breakthrough could be made. As a result, I became what is known in the field as a workshop junkie. Summit was created by a guy named Paul Larson. Legend has it that Paul had studied Eastern philosophy for many years and had once worked with Werner Erhard, the founder of EST. The workshops were designed to produce the enlightenment of the East by using Western techniques.
So it continues. I'll read a little bit of this. Every moment at the center was a training session, whether you were attending a workshop, scrubbing toilets, or answering the phones, all of which I did just to be there.
That sounds like Scientology.
Absolutely. I mean, there is a higher, like the Scientology works on, basically, it's like the military in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
You're asked to do, there's some people do grunt work, and there's some people like Tom Cruise who are treated like royalty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Soon my friends from the residence hotel saw less and less of me as all my spare time was spent inside the warehouse structure in South San Francisco. And here it continues.
My new friends at Summit wanted to walk the path and live with Paul. For a while, I did too.
So then it stopped then there's a whole bunch more because we're going to talk about Paul. Paul is the major domo of this fucking Summit thing. So would you like to read Paul Larson stuff for a little bit there?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew who Paul Larson was the first time I saw him, although he'd only been described to me as not looking like anybody else. I guess his disciples found it difficult to deal with the questions a description would create, because Paul didn't look like a guy who had it all together. He was about 6'5", with receding gray hair, and he weighed about 300 pounds. The people at the center were fond of saying that Paul had a Buddha complex, and the resemblance was uncanny. There was a light and joy about his face that was unmistakable. After I started working reception, Paul and I developed quite a phone relationship.
Ooh.
We rarely saw each other, but you didn't have to see him every day to fall in love with him. I had a whole, what is this word?
Edible. Yep.
Oh, Oedipal thing going on with him. One weekend when I was assisting at a workshop, he flirted outrageously with me, but I knew he did that with all the girls. Paul lived with Beth, and after a while, I decided that if I couldn't have Paul, I was glad she did.
Now,
What?
before we continue, okay, there's this is where my inner shallowness, I guess, is gonna, gonna come to the forefront here. If someone's 300 pounds, I think that there's loads of people out there that will look past someone being extremely heavy if the personality is there and whatever, and you just get a connection.
Mm-hmm.
But there's what do you think is the she says Oedipal, which in this case it's reverse Oedipal because she's not looking to fuck her mother, she's looking to fuck her father. In this case, in this situation, but is it just a weakness, like an inner weakness of Robin to be taken in by all these bigger people she thinks are larger than life?
I think so, because as we talked before, there is something about these cult leaders, they are charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it matters what they look like. Because
Mm-hmm.
there are some real heinous cult leaders out there, and
Time.
people are in love with them, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it. And I skimmed ahead a little bit, and this doesn't give anything away with what you just said, but she kind of like thinks of him as a father figure too. And it's weird, like, why are you like having basically this sexual attraction to this man that feels like your father?
But
right?
it's also, she's described him as Buddha as well, which is not, most, go on Tinder or Bumble or whatever. No one's going, I'm looking for a Buddha type. Anybody,
No, and at first I thought, because she said he was 6'5", that's pretty tall. And
Yes.
I could see somebody that tall pulling off that size if they were like a football player, like a
That's right.
linebacker
That's
kind of
right.
guy. That would be
Right.
sexy.
Some muscle with the fat.
Mm-hmm. But then
Yeah.
she called him a Buddha, and I'm like, that's not so sexy. So I don't know.
She didn't say, "Well, he looks like Vishnu." Um, well, so this is this thing which she says here. He flirted outrageously with me, which implies to me very much like the Nixium cult or something like that. Where it's a sex cult or baby garden or the Church of was it the Church of God or something like that. There's all kinds of
Oh,
look,
it's just
Mrs. Fillmore.
sorry.
She devours these cult documentaries because they are fascinating.
I have a new one. I
Go ahead.
have a new one. It made me think of it. It's on Netflix and it's
Yeah.
called Orgasm Inc. And it is about this. I'm just not kidding. It is fucking crazy. It's
Okay.
this woman. It is a woman, and she starts this whole revolution on women having orgasms, and that's like how they get their power and all this shit. It's crazy. It's so
Okay.
crazy. It's good. She'll like it.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
And like it was a few years ago. I think it was a few years ago now, with the Vikram yoga dude, the one that was the hot yoga
Hmm.
dude that was exposed, whatever. That one
Hmm.
was just man. P.T. Barnum was correct. There's a dozen suckers born every minute. I mean that can go
Hmm.
into this thing, and I guess they do what every cult does. They prey on people that are vulnerable and very
Hmm.
weak, and that could be any of us at any given time. But I think
Yes.
there are certain of us that are just immune to those kind of techniques because there's an innate cynicism, right? Like everything's bullshit, that kind of thing. And
Hmm.
even if something's real, some people may choose not to believe it anyway. So hence, a cult leader, it's like the premise of if you don't want to be hypnotized, you won't be hypnotized. If you don't buy what you're listening to, it won't
Right.
actually work on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with some people, though, they want so badly to belong to something. That's kind of how they get caught up in it. And these people are good. And I don't even think it's conscious, really,
Hmm.
the whole mechanism. Now, I think going out and recruiting and like looking for people and all that stuff, I think is legitimate. But with some of these, you kind of just fall into it. And I don't think people on the other side are consciously thinking, oh, we're in a cult. I'm going to prey on this person.
Hmm.
That's just kind of what naturally happens over time. That's
Right.
just because we're all human and we all have patterns. And I
Yep.
think there are just cult patterns in
Yep.
these weird groups. Anyway.
Yeah, and it may be organic or it may be calculated, but they work either way they work under the same premise or
Hmm.
similar premise anyway.
Yeah.
Paragraph number 3, guys. Although I don't see him or talk to him now, Paul remains the father and never had.
No.
That's just an extra layer of creepiness. Like you want to
Right.
fuck him, but he's your father. What is that leading through a whole
Right.
book now?
Exactly. She just said, what, 5 sentences ago that he flirted outrageously with her and she wanted to live with him
And
and she
fall in
couldn't
love. Didn't
have
take
him,
long to
but
fall
Beth
in love
did.
with him.
Yes. And
Fuck
he
me.
was the father I never had. Okay.
Will you bite his shoulder too? The relationship was cemented the day he walked into one of the center's side doors, saw me, rushed forward, swept me up in his arms, twirled me around as he said hello, then disappeared. I'd been suffering with a stiff neck that afternoon, but the moment my feet returned to the floor, I felt completely loose and the pain was gone. All right, Paul, chiropractor at large. But that hug had more than just a curative effect on my spine. Fuck's sake. It reminded me of the ones I'd shared with my own father before he betrayed me.
Oh my God.
For the first time in years, it felt safe to have someone bigger and stronger touch me. Whenever Paul was
You
around, I would just go up to him and say, I need a hug, and get one.
fucking creep.
Yeah,
Ew.
yeah.
Robin is the creep.
Robin, yeah, she's the creep. Like this guy
Yeah.
sounds like some type of I'm picturing like Peter Boyle, a Peter Boyle type but a chunkier, older
Hmm.
version, and and just sort of I don't know, like when she talked about the air, like the light that people have over them, or the feeling you get,
Hmm.
charismatic certainly, but someone who is essentially likable on some level because
Right.
the charisma, the charm has to come from somewhere.
Hmm.
Yeah. Why don't you read the next paragraph there?
Lord. People loved being around Paul because he brought out the best in them without even seeming to try. I wanted everyone I knew to experience the joy I'd found at Summit. I even thought that if my parents took a workshop, we might learn to love each other. I actually tried to sign them up long distance and almost had my mother convinced, but she eventually declined, citing money and distance as the reasons. Of
Hmm.
course, I took my inability to get them to do a workshop as a personal failure. Since no one who hadn't experienced a workshop could understand my enthusiasm, a lot of people thought I had joined some kind of cult, especially after the whole Jim Jones thing broke.
So, so if people think that, why don't you understand that that's exactly what it is? I guess it's because
Exactly
you
what it
don't, you're,
is.
when you're on the inside, you don't know. I suppose
Mm-hmm.
that's the premise.
I think so.
Um, let's hear where the audio continues with this little line here.
Summit was home to me. For the first time in my life, I had a circle of friends so large I was never without support or companionship.
Okay, and that continues. I always knew what I would be doing on weekends because there was always something going on at the center. My whole social calendar was filled with great friends who truly wanted me to be the best I could be. Whenever I was wallowing in self-pity or being negative, someone called me on it and refused to play along. How about the next paragraph?
Side note, she just described belonging. And
Mm-hmm.
that whole paragraph was her feeling that belonging feeling.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there it is, an example.
Mm-hmm.
We had wonderful times too. Everyone was so talented. Danielle had been a child prodigy on the piano, and our blonde buddy Ted played the guitar. It wasn't unusual for a bunch of us to show up at a piano bar and just take over the place. Surrounded by this group of bohemians, I reconnected with the desire to perform, which had surfaced during my last days in the Air Force. But even though many of my friends made their livings in the arts and recognized my talents, that self-defeating that self-defeating part of me refused to believe that I could ever make my living on stage.
Stop for a minute. What talents did they
What
recognize?
talents? What was she doing?
Like, right, like
What was she
she
doing?
didn't grab a guitar and strum some chords. She didn't
Right.
sing.
She was a
Um,
tag along.
right. What talents is she talking about? That's the thing I can't
Don't
understand.
know. She
Okay,
didn't
well,
say, did
all
she?
right. Sorry. Uh,
That's
yeah.
why I tried as best as I could to replace my dreams of being an actress with fantasies of being on staff. I was considered one of the center's best volunteers and
Oh my
kept
God.
taking on greater responsibility, eventually handling all the travel arrangements for Paul and the trainers at 5 of the Summit centers throughout California. It was ironic how well everything was going inside the egg carton covered walls. What? Because outside things weren't so great.
Okay, so a little more audio, guys.
I ended up quitting the job at the temporary nursing agency because the work bored me and I never seriously looked for another one. I began doing bizarre things to make money, like selling encyclopedias, life insurance, and Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door, but it was a dismal failure.
I had a friend that tried selling Kirby vacuums for like, I don't know, best part of a month. And when
Mm-hmm.
I looked online, this is the beginning of the internet, and I looked up Kirby vacuums, and someone had told me before I even had the chance to find anything that they have to do certain amount of demos before they get paid anything, and then that they're like $400 vacuum cleaners that suck. No one buys them, and you have to. I think did you have to buy a demo package or something like that? I can't remember, but it was very involved, and it was just the worst, one of the worst gigs ever. So you didn't last.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, she leaving the job because it bored her. It said, but what's missing is she in the audio. She said even after getting a raise
See, so why would you give up a quote boring job to go do these bullshit jobs?
for free.
These are bullshit jobs.
Well, oh,
I,
sorry, for the other ones like selling encyclopedias, life insurance, etc.
yeah,
Yeah, it's all horse shit. I mean, like, it's Amway, it's whatever else. You know, you really just it's not
they're
steady.
not
I guess is the real
they're not
word.
real jobs.
No,
You know, and I wonder if she didn't get fired
he might
or
might have been.
uh, yeah, either she got fired or she was so full of herself at the center. Like
Yeah.
she was spending all her time there, and so she just stopped going
Hmm.
or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Suspicious.
these narcs, they create their own reality when reality itself isn't enough or it's too much. Do you know what I mean? Like one way or the
Yeah.
other, they got to escape it. For her, it sounds like all this escapism is about really not being able to confront what you supposedly went through. Now, if she's
Hmm.
created a universe in this book where she was molested and stuff, I think if she just wrote about if she was physically abused, like punishment, corporal punishment being so bad, I think people would have been fine accepting that as trauma because that's what it is trauma.
Right, it is. But she, again, because she's a narcissist, she had to be so over the top and glorify everything and
Yes.
over the top with it. And again, she created a Harlequin romance or whatever. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what she made.
Yep. It says here, continues, next I tried phone sales, hawking gold, magazines, and subsequently sales training tapes for radio stations. That job provided me with my first introduction to radio. I worked early hours and talked to radio stations all over the East Coast. I got the distinct impression that radio people liked their jobs. I thought, must be a fine profession. This is one thing I don't understand. Sales training tapes for, oh, okay. She was selling training tapes for radio stations, not she was creating them and selling them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. With all the time I was devoting to the center, I was really too busy to think about having a relationship. Besides, I had learned a few things about myself and men at Summit. In one of the evening seminars, I discovered that I had developed a distinct pattern as a result of my childhood trauma. There were always two men in my relationships, a friend and a lover, and my lover was usually unavailable. David and Reggie were a perfect illustration of that pattern, which was actually the same triangle created when my father molested me. My father had been my best friend, and when he betrayed my trust, I learned that friends and lovers don't come in the same package, and that the most exciting lovers were already attached. Just knowing something doesn't mean you can change it, and since I didn't think I could, I decided not to bother.
God, why take responsibility for my actions?
Well,
I can't change it anyway.
and knowing something means doesn't mean you can change it. That is asinine horseshit. Like it's just, I'll give you the example I used to give was my one of my sisters-in-law. She was diagnosed with ADD back in the day, before they came up with ADHD, I think. And but that's what it is. Like she's ADHD. And instead of dealing with it and using coping mechanisms or trying to rid herself of this, I don't know if there's medication for it. Maybe there's a combination of meds and techniques to use. She just decided, well, I'm just going to tell people I have ADHD and they're going to have to fucking deal with it. And that's my deal. And it's that's your problem if you can't deal with it. And it was such a horrible way to go. She made friends with all these wackos for the longest time, and they would be short term because they couldn't put up with her for very long.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of narcissism, I suppose, too, on some level, but that inability to focus and then that sort of whimsical manner of like when she learned something, she read a book, she was the first person to ever read that fucking book,
I know what you mean.
right?
Oh God, I know that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's with Robin, it's this obstinance, mind you, she's writing this so many years later that I'm above the solution. I've already I've decided I don't need the solution. I'm the answer. I'm not the problem.
Well, yeah, and she's not going to put any work into anything. Not
No,
really.
no
Like this
way.
whole summit bullshit, you're just going and hanging out and everybody's doing weirdo meditations and
Yeah.
shit. Like that's what they're doing all day.
Hmm.
Um, look, side note, I meditate. That's not what I mean, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. They're like doing weird shit and they're all being fake and just I know where she went. Like I've been to one of those places.
Hmm.
I know not Summit, but I've been to something like it.
Hmm.
And she's just having a good old time. She's not really working on anything. She's putting on a show. So no,
It,
she's not taking responsibility for anything she does. Nothing.
was it another distraction, essentially?
Yeah, like I think she just wants to float through life and
Yeah.
just, go over here, go over there, not really take anything seriously unless she's putting on a show and wants
Hmm.
to act like this or that. But what has she really shown responsibility with, other than showing up to the Howard Stern show every day? Excuse me. That's the only thing I can see she's ever been responsible with.
And even that is like the
Right.
least amount of responsibility, having other people fucking print up her
Uh-huh.
work and then yeah. So the next audio clip, guys, is Audrey plows her box.
Around that time, an atypical little affair sort of fell into my lap. I was singing as I walked home down Polk Street when a very handsome
Ironic that it's Polk Street. Guys, Polk, but yeah, you get it.
young man interrupted my reverie by saying hello. He wound up walking me home, and after the world's fastest courtship, I sneaked him past hotel reception and into the first-floor bathroom so that we could be alone for a few minutes, if you catch my drift. At that moment, I didn't even know his name and never really expected to see him again. A few nights later, I was in my room getting undressed when I heard something hit my window. There, standing in a halo of lamplight, was the beautiful young man from the incredible night encounter. When I raised the window, he yelled up, "I thought I dreamed you."
Oh, bitch. You lying fucking idiot. God.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, like first of all,
Jesus
the paragraph
Christ.
before she goes, the first bit of the audio, she says, she missed a couple of these things. It says, "I was in my own little world, singing as I walked down Polk Street, where I just grabbed a late night snack." Food has to be involved on some level with Robin. And then when a very handsome young man interrupted my reverie. What reverie are you in when you're having a snack? Are you going like, hoo, 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 eat the ding dong? Hoo,
I guess so. Like she's skipping down the street
sashaying down Polk Street.
with her little Debbie snack cakes.
Right.
God
So,
almighty.
so the thing I don't understand. Okay. So what happens is this is the thing that years later she says she did anal for the first time.
Oh, this is the guy.
Right. And so just like that, like, does it happen? I suppose it does in movies and maybe in real life. There's some fucking nymphomaniacs or something. I mean, they're usually, before you do the fucking in the alley thing, you do at least spend an hour or something talking to the person, unless you're completely fucked up.
I mean, exactly. First of all, she sets this whole thing up like a porno. This
Yeah.
is exactly what this reads like.
Yes,
a fucking
exactly.
porno.
Right.
Old school,
Hi, TV
80s
repairman.
porno. Yes, yes. Hello.
Right.
I've come to install whatever in your box.
I've come to install my antenna in your box.
Yes.
Okay. It actually continues, guys.
I felt like the heroine in a fairy tale. His name was Audrey. He was the most incredible lover, and after having sex with him in a parked car at the beach, I discovered something a little disturbing about myself. My car was parked right next to a truck, and the whole time we were making love, I knew we were being watched. I think that's what made it so exciting. When we finished, the guys in the truck applauded, and I didn't feel the least embarrassed.
Okay. Again, it sounds made up as fuck.
The whole thing sounds made up.
Yeah.
The whole
And-
thing. Every
yeah.
bit.
Oh, yeah. And it continues.
I lost Audrey when I tried to introduce him to my other passion, Summit workshops. I took him to an introductory lecture one night, and to put it mildly, he was not impressed. We never really saw each other again after that night, but the exhibitionism that surfaced while I was with him would later lead me down some strange and desperate paths.
The way she explains it, it's not exhibitionism, it's stupidity. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't give a fuck. I'm doing a lot of it. You know, like, I'm just gonna, it sounds like you could turn her, you could make her, you could, I don't know, give her a gun and say, shoot that person, and she'd fucking do it, the way she writes about it here.
Yeah. And she'd have some reason of why it was so liberating for her.
Right, but it also wouldn't be her responsibility. Someone told me to do it, so I did it.
Yeah.
Right? So the next, hold on, let's see what I got here. It says shortly after the Audrey thing ended, and there's some audio here.
I moved out of the residence, got my furniture from storage, and took a 3-bedroom ranch-style house in San Mateo with 3 other people from Summit.
Okay, you want to read the next little bit?
It was a great place, and whenever we were all home together, we'd have a party, which turned out to be a rare occurrence because we all kept different hours. We used to call the place International House, since we were all from different ethnic backgrounds. Phil was Korean, I was black, of course, Gail was a white Southerner, and Alan was Jewish.
Okay, and then it continues a little bit of audio.
It was a good thing I got my furniture back because I had to start selling my possessions to live and pay for workshops. I abandoned the job search entirely because I decided to go on staff at Summit.
Okay, so you're selling your sofa to pay for fucking workshops. I mean, okay, and guys, I get it. Cults work, they operate on this premise. They want the weak, the gullible, the stupid. Any and all may apply, but the key is to get the money from those people. Whatever benefits they glean from whatever cult, I guess is incident. I guess it's important to them, but what ultimately happens whenever you break ties with the cult is you realize, oh my God, I was an idiot, or I was taken in, or I was scammed. But either way, you're the loser in that situation because now you don't even have the cult to say, oh, at least I have this. And I can't imagine anybody talking about it in this way and not feeling like later on after the fact, oh, I was hard done by. She go after the Brendan Murphy 15 Foundation thing goes back to Landmark. It's called Summit, but Landmark.
I was going to ask you that. Is Summit and Landmark the same thing?
Exact same thing. They changed the name, as
Okay.
many cults
Okay.
do.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So even like, we've watched the cult documentaries on Netflix.
hmm
Almost all of the participants, like the former cult members, are either fucking pissed
Yeah.
and they are like, I'm not having this shit, or
hmm
they're trying to go get their family member out because they got out,
Yep.
or some of them are even still hurt by the whole thing that
Sure.
happened, that they got, that it was, and then some of them even admit they kind of still miss it. But all of them are like, they all have that common thread of this was a horrible experience.
Right. And so Robin doesn't seem to get that clarity of mind because, well, first of all, she's brainless. Second of all, I think for a lot of them, I'm sure there's a good percentage that don't want to believe that they were scammed because that would make them to be idiots, or
Yeah.
like if they didn't even have that delusion, then they'd have nothing.
Yeah,
So
I could see that.
yeah.
I don't even, I think she's just so far removed from everything
hmm
that she can't see it any other way. And I think if she talked about it today, she'd romanticize it still.
hmm
Like she still wouldn't, after all this time, be able to look back and think, oh, that fucking place had me selling my TV
Right.
just to go to their dumb little thing.
Exactly. And it says here, okay, so that last sentence up in the audio, I abandoned the job search entirely because I decided to go on staff. Now, were Est or Summit people paid some kind of stipend? I don't know. Doesn't say. She didn't say anything about it. It continues. All I had to do was convince Paul that I was ready, but I didn't seem to be having much luck. I wanted him to ask me, and although I was already treated like staff, he still hadn't. So someone's doing all this work for you and you're trying to get this approval by being quote on staff and they won't do it, and that's not enough for you to say, well, fuck this.
Right. She's still looking for daddy's attention.
Right, that little finger anyway.
Then Paul announced his latest brainchild, the 9-day training. He called it the first intensive workshop ever and made it a mandatory requirement for going on staff.
In other words, more money.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yeah,
all
they
these
keep
workshops.
leveling up. Yeah.
hmm It said here the debut sessions were going to be held in Los Angeles, and
The tuition was $1,000.
okay, 1,000, whatever, 1970 something dollars,
That's
easily
a
double.
shit ton of money back then.
Yeah, loads of money. Where did it say here? Tuition was $1,000, but it seemed worth it because Paul assured us that it would finally blow out any fragments of old patterns that were still keeping us from fulfillment.
Okay.
Okay,
How'd that
simply
work
had
out
to
for you, Robin?
she goes, I simply had to take it.
Take it.
And then, okay, why don't you read the next paragraph?
Assessing my own situation, I had to admit that I was still recovering from that nervous breakdown I'd experienced in the Air Force. I was also, to my surprise, still suffering several after effects of childhood abuse, anger, and an inability to trust chief among them. What?
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was painfully aware that I was still afraid to show what I considered my real face to the world, always hiding behind a smile and a giggle. And it was getting harder and harder to maintain that disguise. I needed to control my variable in every moment of every day to avoid cracking up. The 9 day session was just what I thought it needed to be to steer me in the right direction for the future.
Okay, so she needed it desperately, and it continues. I think there's a little more audio that continues.
This
One
woman.
sec.
I had to sell my car to afford it, but I was absolutely certain that the wisdom I'd gain would be well worth it.
Selling your sofa, selling your car is another level, isn't it?
My God, you're selling your car.
Wheels,
Your
guys.
car.
Even before the new workshop got underway, I had a feeling that things weren't going to go turn out. Weren't going to turn out exactly as I'd expected.
I had already begun to see traits in my friends that disturbed me. They wanted to be on staff because they needed to be with Paul. They didn't really believe that they could ever translate what they learned inside Summit to the outside world, so they were choosing to cut themselves off from it. I, on the other hand, had this nagging feeling that I belonged in the world and not some workshop monastery.
Okay, so it suits her purposes until it doesn't. So something isn't clearly enough for her, right?
Mm-hmm. Either that, yes, or something happened that she's not sharing in here.
That could very well be. Would you say something like well, I don't know, a landmark form, yes, whatever. There's not a lot of evidence out there that there's any kind of sexual impropriety like there are with a lot of cults. So I don't
Mm-mm.
imagine it was that, but I'd say it was something, innocuous, but it kind of got her thinking, I'm being taken advantage of. I've been taken for a
Maybe.
ride. I think that's what it was, and she doesn't want to admit it.
Maybe so. I mean, she did just sell her car. If that's
Hmm.
not a wake up, I don't think you can have a wake up.
That's right.
Maybe she really did start to think, oh, fuck, I just sold my car for
Yeah.
these people.
How am I going
And
to
for
get to
what?
where am I going to get to the
I can't,
supermarket?
I can't even get to the workshop. I sold my car to
Exactly.
attend.
So why don't you continue? Because then before the audio
Mhm.
continues with the next bit, but not I headed for LA is the next bit there.
Uh, I headed for LA, hoping that things would look different when the workshop was over. They most certainly did. It was during the 9 day training workshop that I cut off all my hair for the first time. And not only as I l- and not only was I looking different when I got back to San Francisco, I felt like my whole insides had been churned into butter. Believe it or not, I was in worse shape than when I had left.
I believe it. So, but again, she doesn't go into detail over what made her worse. Like what happened in the workshop. This is missing from the narrative,
Right.
and it's a 9 day workshop. 9 day workshop. Wouldn't you want to go into that?
And she doesn't have one thing to say about the 9 days she spent with these people and why she feels worse than when she went in.
Right.
Nothing, oh, she just glosses over that part.
Well, that's what made no sense to
Okay.
me with the first time when I went through this. I go like, okay, 9 days. It sounds like a substantial enough amount of time. I mean, there are wars that don't
Yeah.
last 9 days,
Right.
and I mean, the first Gulf War was over before you had time to finish watching, Wild Things. But let's see. It says, okay, there's a little more audio here before the audio clip ends.
The 9 day training was the death knell of my participation at Summit. All my friends went on staff after we got back and wondered why I wasn't.
There you go.
They called and called after I stopped showing up at the center. Somehow, I just felt that it was time for me to go.
Now she doesn't continue. The magic safety net wasn't working for me anymore. The key phrase there was they were on staff and I wasn't. That's why she had to leave Summit because she wasn't included in the reindeer games.
Yeah, okay, wait. Let me go back. All right, so she said on the previous page that She quit her job because she wanted to be on staff.
That's right.
Now, I know we just read that and I can't remember. Did she get on staff?
No, she never did. Like she was
Right,
desperately like
right.
at the beginning it says here, there's a paragraph number 2. All of a sudden I got the feeling they wanted to be on staff because they needed to be with Paul.
That's right.
But then before then, it says all I had to do was convince Paul that I was ready to be on staff essentially, but I didn't seem to be having much luck. I wanted him to ask me, and although I was already treated like staff, he still hadn't. That's
That's right.
absolute.
Okay, she's
That
treated.
she was
Right.
taken. She was taken for like she was absolutely one of those things that they go. She's good for money. She's good for free labor, but we're not going to
Hmm.
give her some kind of administrative work. Either she's
All
not
right, so
capable, or we don't really like her.
that's what happened.
Yeah,
That right there.
right.
She got done and saw that everybody but her got jobs there, and
Yeah,
that's what she wanted. And
yeah.
she's like, "Well, fuck you. I sold my car to get this damn job, and you
So
still
what?
didn't give it to me."
So what so what how, so my guess I guess my real question would be what point was going if she internal if it didn't really if it was all about I can't get my status from being at this fucking thing, what lessons could she have learned that she had to discard it completely and leave?
I think it was all about status. I don't think that it was ever about her really wanting to, work through her problems and
That's
work
right.
through all these issues. I don't think it was ever about that.
Right.
It was about her climbing. She was trying to climb
There you
to the
go.
top
Yes.
and, be queen bee at the summit, and it didn't fucking happen. And I wonder, I bet they hated her. Like, I bet they were like, this bitch is crazy.
We're at two bitches so far in the recording, and I didn't. Well, I said one now by just observing it, but the next audio is called "Robin, the Porno Queen."
At first, I thought the key to my post-summit life was getting a different kind of job, and I found myself scouring the papers again, this time for work in the skin trade.
God, okay, skin trade,
Who
the
says
exhibition.
that?
Nobody does. The exhibitionism that had surfaced with Audrey began to move to the front of the line in my thoughts about what to do with myself.
Maybe it would calm my restless spirit. I found myself auditioning for a porn film director, allowing him to take a Polaroid of me naked. Then I made an appointment at a strip joint downtown.
I like how these are both sandwiched in the same 2 lines.
Oh, why do they do that?
Who's casually
It's
going,
so
I
weird.
auditioned for a porn director and then I went to a strip club?
I
Just
cut
matter of
all my
factly.
hair off and I had sold my car. I cut my hair off. I had to get the fuck out of there. And so I went and auditioned for porn.
I was,
Okay.
there's a porn actress. I can't remember what her heritage is. I think Eastern European, but like her real name I don't remember. But Christy Canyon was her name,
Oh yeah,
and
I remember her.
she's alive. She wrote a book about her life in the
Mm-hmm.
porn industry.
Yeah.
Fantastic read. A buddy loaned it to me. I gave it back to him, and I remember thinking almost everybody gets into porn is a damaged individual. Almost
Yes.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Without question, male, female, doesn't matter. And it just like it doesn't mean that it has to end that way. Some of them, when they do get out, they become, something else. They use their experience as something, a stepping stone to become more than whatever they feel they were, and fill in the void that they thought was missing when they joined porn to begin with. But Robin is so, this is so frivolous. Most of these things in the book, it makes me think of, okay, like she's been on the Stern Show for so long and she's heard these stories and she's had strippers, they've had strippers come in, they've had porn stars come in, lesbians, whatever, all that shit, that she decided, like, this is the spice chapter. This is where I'm going to have to really get
Mm-hmm.
the grab. Like, first I got the molestation, I got a little of that. Then I got the sexual, what do you call it, promiscuity, or like, exhibitionism, all these extreme
Mm-hmm.
things. But she's about as extreme as vanilla ice cream.
She's extremely mental ill. That's
Y-
where her extremity comes
Mm-hmm.
from. But yeah, I'm just a little bit like,
You're taken aback.
My flabbers be
Yeah.
gasted. I'd say.
Why don't you take the last paragraph on
God.
124, guys, if you're following
Nut.
along.
Since I was a novice, the woman on the phone said that I had to come in and dance, one for free, just to prove that I was going to take the job. She claimed to have been burned too many times by girls who chickened out at the last minute. The first thing I noticed when I walked into her office was a life-size poster of Blaze Starr. Blaze was a world-famous stripper and Baltimore celebrity. She owned a club in the red light district of the city, and I'd seen her on talk shows dozens of times. The boss lady warmed up to me immediately when she discovered that I knew of her and admired her idol.
Okay, now this is a little bit of stern trivia. Bianca, the bulldog, was named after a stripper at Scores. Freudian slip. Blaze, Robin's horse, was named after this stripper.
Mm.
So, like, what is it with the Stern Show and strippers, and all of a sudden names are gonna, like, you know what? I'm gonna name you Tracy after Tracy Lords. Like, who the fuck?
Yeah,
Come on, guys.
I don't
There's
know.
a bit more audio here.
The club itself left a lot to be desired. Strippers danced on a stage under a proscenium arch, and the audience consisted mainly of derelicts who slept through the show.
How glamorous.
This wasn't exactly as I'd imagined it. In my fantasies, I performed to a well-dressed and appreciative audience, like the ones in the movie Gypsy.
Oh,
Okay, I don't know the movie, so let's do a little research here. The movie
don't know it
Gypsy.
either.
Okay. I never saw this, so
I didn't either.
Let me entertain you.
And brother, Natalie Wood's got the entertainment that really entertains. This is the big bouncy one about the darling of the runways who made herself a reputation, who became the toast of international society.
okay, so Gypsy Rose Lee, basically. Okay, fine. So this is what Robin was basing the whole, like, this is her she getting to stripping would immediately lead me to the spotlight. I'm going to be
Yeah.
I'm going to be Natalie Wood in this movie.
Yes, she said it right here. In my fantasies, I perform to well-dressed and appreciative audience. So she had it all glamorized in her mind that she was going to walk out on stage and it was going to be this nice, gorgeous place and she was going to be adored and everybody
Okay.
was going to love her. And
Okay.
yeah,
This is a real question. Like, and this is not a question most people would ask a woman, but I will. Have you ever been to an actual strip club?
yes.
Okay. What was the feeling when you went in and when you left?
Well, it depends on the class of strip club that you
Right.
go to. And I will tell you, I've been to several, and I'm not saying it to like be gross or anything. I just
Right.
have. And me and my husband went a lot, and we went when we were younger. And so we've been to some real trashy ones, like she's talking here.
Right.
But those were gross, and you felt disgusting. I was
Yes.
like, get the fuck out of here. This is
Right.
nasty. But we also went to the Cheetah in Atlanta, which is a really nice one. And they had the Gold Club in Atlanta, God, 20 years ago, probably.
Okay.
That was super nice. Like I went to go use the restroom and a bouncer walked me to the restroom. Like it was nice.
Okay.
We had a good time and we had fun. But yeah, it depends on what kind you go to.
Okay. So, I mean, basically, yeah, there are levels. There are different levels. And what she's
Hmm.
talking about is some complete fleabag hovel. And,
Yeah.
again, it's the stripping is just another, the idea of being a stripper it isn't about wanting to be an exhibitionist. It's about being
Mm-mm.
famous for something, being like that's the key. Whether it's for porn, whether it's for, Summit, whether it's for acting, whatever. The key is I got to be important.
Yes. And she will do anything she thinks will get her there. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter what it is.
She was
It just
J Lo
doesn't
without
matter.
she was J Lo without the success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the way, Raven sent me a video of J Lo performing at some wedding
Oh
in
my God.
India. Did she send you those?
Yes, she did. Oh my God. It was so bad. So,
Now,
so
explain to the
bad.
audience what was bad about it, other than the fact that clearly they paid her a boatload of money to be this,
Yeah.
just she was wearing this flesh-colored like unitard covered with like leather stuff, like a leather thong, and
Yeah.
it was almost like the
Like a
Cher
micro
outfit from
bikini or something. Yeah.
yeah,
She's got that whole thing on, and the way she dances, she's so stiff and clunky. Like,
still.
just, I can't even, like, what happened to her? I don't even know what happened to her. But she has, what makes it even grosser is she's so full of herself, and I guess she thinks she's still so sexy and just got it, but she doesn't. She does not got it. And like
Well,
her legs are like flailing, like it's a
doesn't
mess.
it just scream of desperation, basically?
Yes, it does. And I told Raven this too. I was like, there is something, it's not her age,
No.
because Kylie Minogue, Shakira are two that I thought of immediately, are 50-ish, if
Yeah.
not older.
Yeah.
Nobody makes fun of them.
No.
They're still like idols to people. Like, they
Hmm.
still put on good shows. Nobody is cringing at Kylie Minogue or Shakira.
Right.
It's But they don't act like her.
Well, no, they don't. They're like, if even if they are thirsty, for lack of a better term,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying, for hypothetical, let's say that they also crave the spotlight, like J Lo. They're not doing it in such a way where it's so patently obvious, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't mean
Yes.
so. Like, do I think that Oasis are doing this reunion tour for notoriety, or because they're whores for they need to get attention? No, they're doing it for the money. And like,
Mm-hmm.
no one, even the brothers, they know what that's about. Like, they're separate on tour, and they'll get together for the fucking concert, and they'll put on a good show because they know people paid a lot of fucking money to go see
Yeah.
them, and they'll deliver. Most people I've
Mm-hmm.
heard that went to these Oasis shows went away very satisfied.
I would go. I'd go to one.
I just because I can't stand them anymore, I wouldn't. But even for a free ticket, I might go to see the spectacle. But I wouldn't want to be around a whole gaggle of fucking Oasis 50-year-old fans. Um,
Well, I mean, that's maybe true, but to
yeah.
see the show, I would want to go.
Well, there you go. But like with J Lo, it just looks like she's so like if she got $1 billion to perform at a kid's birthday party, that wouldn't be enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not
No.
money. It's not money. It's
Mm-mm.
definitely
Mm-mm.
money, but it's also notoriety. It's relevancy. I need, like, if there's a camera, what's that expression? Someone, no, it was an expression. It was a one-liner in one of the roasts. I'm not going to say that so and so is a fame whore, but they showed up on my chest X-ray, like a whore for the camera or something like
Yeah.
that. It was a great line, and like J Lo is like that, and Robin is that's the way she's coming off in this reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Desperate, just desperate. Look at me. Please,
but
somebody,
but
please, I beg you.
cringe
Yes.
desperate, not internally
Yes.
desperate. Like outwardly
Right.
desperate. That's the worst type.
Right.
Like
Right. Like a
like you
Klingon, like just glomming on to anything.
you can
Anything.
you can be, and there's two kinds of tryhards. They're the ones that they just don't realize they're doing it, and you feel kind of pity for them. Then they're the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are just wearing it like a fucking, like a scout, like a badge scout, a scout badge, and they're like, I don't care, who knows, I'm going right for it, and it looks, you feel like it's a joke. It's not pity. You feel for
Yeah.
them. That's Robin,
It's exactly. And
and that's
who
J
another
Lo.
one exactly. And another one that's big now is Meghan Markle is
Oh
another
yes,
one that's just like that. No shame.
zero.
No shame at all
No,
with anything. And
no.
I don't even think they look at it as like desperation. They're just like, I gotta get somewhere. I gotta be at the top. I gotta do whatever I have to do.
Yeah.
They're just oh, it's
But it's at such a way that, like, it'll never go away. Like, I don't think they'll
mm-mm.
ever get in their
No.
heads that
Mm-mm.
you're overreaching and you're doing too much, and it's obvious to everybody but you.
They're never full. No
No.
matter what they do, there's like a hole in the bucket.
Yeah.
Look, Meghan Markle married a fucking prince.
Yeah.
That wasn't good enough for her.
No.
She had to fuck that up because she thought she could do better than that. You
Right.
made it to the top, lady. Like you made it. You
Right.
made it. Still not enough.
Yeah, and I believe that with the Meghan Markle thing, which we've never really talked about, but because it's not Stern related personally, like it's not really, we don't tie it into the Stern show, but
Mm-mm.
she made up, but it is kind of tied up in the fact that she created this narrative, like this, there was racism from the other family members and some other bullshit. I don't buy it because even though Prince Philip was a notorious racist asshole, that it would, if it got out like that in the public, they would turn on the royal family like that because England has a massive, uh, black population or people of
Mm-hmm.
color, like Indian people, loads of people of different ethnicities living in England, and that wouldn't fly well with the proletariat. But she did it, and she got the Prince Harry to sign off on that just so she could get some kind of leverage, and it didn't work.
Mm-mm.
And if they break up, he's going to go crawling back to
Of course he
the
is.
monarchy. You know
They're
that, right?
breaking up. That they're breaking up and he's
Yeah.
going home. Like you can look at him now. He's dead
He's
inside.
Ben
He's
Affleck.
dead. He is Ben Affleck. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Right. And it's his own stupidity. Like he dug his heels in and he decided I'm going with
Uh-huh.
this. And I don't know if it's a willfulness or some type of like I've got to do my own thing, being a maverick. I'm always going to be the almost prince.
Hmm.
I don't want to be Prince Andrew, basically. But
Right. And
honestly, guys, no one's Prince. No, only Prince Andrew is Prince Andrew.
yeah, nasty.
Yeah.
I think it was exactly that. He was all caught up in her. She was
Yep.
probably cool and making him feel all good. And she's a narcissist, so she dug her claws right in. He was
Yep.
all up in it. He was feeling rebellious, and so he rebelled against his family.
Right.
But then everything settled, and he's like,
You saw
"Oh
what you.
shit,
This is
I'm
what
with
I'm left
this."
with.
Yes, yes.
All right. When I went inside to watch the girl on stage, I was shocked by her beauty. I surveyed the comatose audience, unable to believe unable to believe that they were ignoring her. You just described a bunch of derelicts. What do you expect?
I know. Oh God, okay.
Anyway,
After the strip was over, the boss lady led me backstage. I didn't even recognize the girl I'd just seen dancing. In real life, she was incredibly homely. She had rushed backstage and thrown on her cat's eye, Coke bottle thick glasses to work on her latest costume because she was being groomed for Vegas and needed at least 7 different outfits to break into the big time. What an illusion she had created on stage. She was good. The boss was very proud of her. Much like me, she had just walked in off the street one day.
oh, okay. And that's funny because what the strip club is a workshop for budding Vegas showgirls.
Apparently.
Okay, 7 outfits. All right. Good, you go, girl. The other girls at the club paled by comparison. They possessed neither the homely girl's skill nor her ambition. When they danced, they got out of their clothes as fast as possible. Then, lying on the lip of the stage, simply spread their legs. They were a sad lot, showing the mileage of the rough road they had traveled. My
What?
education, my education in stripping continued way into the night. I'd made an impression on the boss, and deciding that she didn't need to audition me, she put me on the schedule for the next day and assigned me to the other black stripper in her stable for my orientation. Yeah, right. Like I don't buy it. This is the most steaming pile of horse shit imaginable. She was ready to be a stripper. She was assigned all this stuff on site, on site.
Right. She was so amazing.
And so
She
hot.
yeah. And
Yeah.
she kept calling that girl homely as a dig.
Hmm.
Homely. She
Yeah.
was homely.
Right. She was homely.
But
I was hot shit, babe. I
right.
was hot shit, baby.
I was Foxy Brown. And Foxy Brown don't have to audition, honey. Uh-uh.
You got the next paragraph.
Oh, the black stripper she assigned me to gave me a glimpse of what a stripper's life would be. Give up your day friends, she warned. You're a night person now, and your day friends won't understand. She gave me a wig because men who watch strippers prefer their girls with hair. Dancing naked is different than dancing with clothes on, so don't jump around, she told me. Be nice to the cops. They get to come back to the dressing room whenever they want, and you can develop a nice little side business turning tricks for your regular customers.
Fucking Christ almighty. Here's the next bit of audio, guys. One sec.
After that night, I knew I wouldn't find whatever it was I was looking for on that stage. I chided myself when I got home, wondering what I'd been thinking of to even consider stripping.
So you didn't strip. You went. You claimed all this happened, but you didn't actually go follow through. That's not an image you want to like. You're searching for something, so I'm going to be a stripper. If you're really searching for some kind of fame, stripping's the last place you're going to go to get it.
Yeah, that's like bottom of the totem pole. Like
Yeah.
that. Well, I
I mean,
mean,
it's not. I
unless
mean,
you're
it's
maybe
some.
in
It's
Vegas, whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
stripping would be
sure.
something I would imagine for like college girls who want more money. You know, who don't want to do prostitution, but they want to make more money on the
Yeah,
side, whatever, and they look hot, and they say, why not take advantage of it?
right.
But it's a sordid thing, and you really, if you didn't have to do it, you wouldn't do it.
Right. That's the other thing. And you're certainly, regardless of the reason you do it, money or not, you're not getting famous
No,
by being a stripper.
no,
I mean,
no.
what? Anna Nicole Smith, I think, is the only famous stripper that I know of.
That comes to mind. It continues. The calls from my friends at Summit were still coming.
I decided I needed to get out of town to figure out on my own how to live in the world.
The way we lived at the center with Paul. Sorry, hold on. Let's see. This it's broken up. What the fuck does it? This is. I decided I need to get out of town to figure out on my own how to live in the world the way we lived at the center with Paul. I see. It was cut off there. Besides, it was time for the rent, and I only had a couple of $100 to my name, so I skipped out on my roommates in the middle of the afternoon without even saying goodbye. Since I wanted to be in show business.
I'll go to Hollywood.
Okay, so she fucked off on rent she owed, leaving. This is something you want to include in your memoir?
Right. All right. So she left the government high and dry, and she left owing them some money.
Right.
And she comes out here, and she's leaving her poor roommates. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
in the lurch.
I
Yeah,
gotta
here.
go.
You can cover the rest of my
Like,
nut.
sucks to
Assholes.
be you. I know.
Yeah, exactly. What an asshole. You can finish off the last paragraph there.
Oh, this bird had to fly. God.
I commend you. I couldn't read that with a straight face.
I had learned a lot at Summit. It was like a crash course in life. All the things my parents couldn't teach me, Paul had put into those workshops. I had all the information I would need to take me where I wanted to go. But that still didn't prevent this little chick from falling flat on her face the first time out of the nest.
First time, there's a collection of face plants. It's funny.
I'm
It's
like, sweetie.
yeah, the expression she says, Summit was like a crash course in life. It was like a collision course into life, this bullshit. Her entire life is one of failure, abject failure. What is it? Like arrogance and desperation. This is not something you want. Like, I would not want this made into a movie. This is what she's written the book for, specifically.
It's embarrassing.
When I touched down at LAX, there was no one there to greet me. What assholes. And it suddenly occurred to me that I didn't really know much about Los Angeles. When I'd been there before, I was never in LA proper. I was always in the Valley, West Hollywood, or Tarzana. I didn't know if these places were sections of the city or the suburbs outside. I didn't even know if Los Angeles had a downtown, but I was about to find out. Let's see what we got here.
Downtown LA was dirty and seedy, full of flophouse hotels. I can't imagine what the state of my mind was, but I walked into one of these flea bags and registered. The room was just $6 a night. A neon sign blinked right outside the window of my dirty room.
Okay, at $6 a night back in those days, you are in like you're at Skid Row.
Trash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are in the gutter.
Again, the bathroom was down the hall, but even after I showered, I couldn't feel clean in this place. I mean, it probably had an hourly rate, this place. That's all I'm saying. Okay. The evening after dinner, I went to the TV room and watched the fuzzy picture with a bunch of sleeping drunks sitting in the very rear of the room, afraid to let anyone sit behind me. That night, I was awakened by what I thought were the sound of gunshots. Glamorous.
The next morning, I headed for the state employment office. I spotted a counter just for vets, took my place in line, and waited my turn.
It said also here, it's not covered in the audio. I wanted a job and fast, and was even willing to be a nurse, but there was no way for me to get a license so far from the capital. So desperation to get money again. Once again, suddenly, it's funny. All that summit stuff. Now the money. Now that you're not in the cult, money's important. But at that
Right.
time, the only thing money was good for was workshops for the summit.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Because
insane.
they were going to get her somewhere.
That's right. What do we got here?
It was the only time I had ever tried to apply for any kind of public assistance in my life.
Wah. I'm on welfare. Wah. Okay.
Sold my car for Paul.
That's right.
The pleasant-looking black man behind the desk was very solicitous as I poured out my heart. He
Okay, recounting my sordid job history since getting out of the service, he took my hand and told me that I needed time to relax and get my head together before I'd even know what I wanted to do.
referred me to what he said was a non-profit agency that dealt with GIs having trouble readjusting to civilian life.
It wasn't like she was in fucking Vietnam cutting off
I
ears.
know.
Civilian life.
God.
You know, when I got back from Quezon and I was called baby killer.
They're throwing rocks at me from the street. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Christ almighty.
He even called a guy there to tell him I was coming over. Remember, ask for Mel Jackson, he reminded me as I started off. Don't speak to anyone else.
Only Mel. We got to take care. We got to take care of a fine sister like you.
God.
I thanked him profusely and sincerely as I left. Okay,
Oh,
why don't you
my
take the next
gosh.
paragraph?
The office I was sent to was a mass of petitions. I rounded a corner and encountered a young man who asked if he could help me. A look of disappointment crossed his face when I asked for Mel, but he promptly got up and led me to the back of the office. Mel, a leathery-skinned black man with a bad complexion, was in his own messy little cubicle. I was struck by how much he looked like the photographer Gordon Parks.
Yeah, we all have this revelation when we meet people at the unemployment office. This is the thing that's funny. She's got to, first of all, she's got to say if the person's black or white. She's got to say if they're Asian. I mean, to tell coloring the story. That's why it sounds more to me like this was meant to be a script for a movie that never was picked up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm casting. This is a stubby, one-legged dwarf with scoliosis or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
Let's see what it says here. Oh, the rest. Yeah, it's this whole thing. That next paragraph is not. Most of this is not covered in the audio. Go figure. I introduced myself and extended my hand. He took it but remained seated. He recognized my name right away and asked me to tell my story again. He too expressed great compassion, offering me to help get me out of the dump where I was living. He wouldn't even let me go back there alone. I spent the rest of the afternoon sitting in front of the office waiting for him to get off work. At the end of the day, Mel rolled himself into the lobby, and for the first time I realized he was a cripple. That wheelchair was a souvenir of Vietnam, I thought to myself, trying not to stare. Outside awaiting us was his customized Lincoln Continental. The disability checks must be awesome, I imagined. Yeah, I'm
Oh my
sure.
God.
A Lincoln Continental for a cripple.
He can't walk, jackass.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Yeah.
ooh, but he got a nice ride.
That's right. Why don't you take the next paragraph?
I checked out of the rat trap downtown and threw my bag into the back seat of Mel's car. Then we headed off to Fat Burger's restaurant, where he told me he'd once seen Diana Ross at a stool at this on a stool at this very counter. Aware of my aspiration to stardom, Mel added, "One day someone will be saying they saw you sitting on that stool." I blushed.
Man, they're all of a sudden like, we got one. We got a sucker. So here's the audio, guys.
Mel told me that I needed a steak to give me some time to consider my options. He asked me how much cash I actually had on me, and when I told him about $150, he sighed heavily. To get into the game he was talking about would take about $500. With $500, I could buy some cocaine, split it, dilute it, and turn my $500 into about $2,000. $2,000 would give me room to breathe. Today I'm shocked that I didn't just get up and leave. I actually considered buying and selling cocaine.
So we got strip club, porn director, drug dealer. Yeah.
Man with no legs.
Right, man with no legs.
Working
Lincoln
at the
Continental. Yeah, exactly. VA. Talk to Mel Jackson,
Yeah.
in big neon letters.
Later, Mel offered me a hit of cocaine, which I declined.
Next, he decided to prove to me what a social elixir this white powder could be. Pulling the car to the curb at a bus stop, he asked a pretty blonde girl if she wanted to party. She hopped into the car and snorted a line of the stuff after pouring it from a little vial as Mel circled the block. When we got back to the bus stop, she thanked him and resumed her spot under the canopy. "See how easy it is?" Mel said and smiled.
Although I continued to refuse his drugs, he took me to a much more expensive hotel that night. I thought he had taken care of the bill and settled into my new, clean bed, worry-free. The next morning I awoke well-rested and feeling good until I passed the front desk on the way to breakfast, only to be asked to pay the bill.
Bitch, you gots to have some money. Like this glamour getting taken for every fucking cent she has.
I parted with $22 of what little money I had and spent the rest of the day watching game shows and soaps on the TV in my room. Mel showed up as promised, this time revealing another part of the plan. He knew men, white men, who would pay for certain services. It wasn't any big deal, according to him. Sometimes they'd pay big money just to look at you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. They pay big money to go look at you. Like, well, interesting. This isn't this isn't like health, like a sex ed class where they need the female body in real flesh. This is nonsense. Now, this is great.
"Stand up and take off your clothes," he ordered. "I have to inspect the merchandise." I stood and removed what I was wearing. He beckoned for me to come closer, and when I did, he leaned forward, wrapping his lips around one of my nipples. "I don't recall giving you permission to do that," I said.
I mean,
They're talking about taking liberties. Yeah, the audition's almost done. I just have to sample your goods. So, like, that's exactly what it says here. "Just what do you think you're doing?" I demanded sternly. "I told you I have to check out the goods." "I don't recall giving you permission to do that," I said, stepping back and putting on my clothes. "You took off your clothes, asshole."
all this is bullshit. Who says that? All right. All right, let's just set the scene. She's in some hotel room with a man in a wheelchair with no legs. Okay?
Right. She just paid for breakfast that she thought he covered.
Right. Yeah, so he's not a very good pimp right out of the gate. He's not paying for anything.
Right.
So he goes, "All right, I'm going to set you up with some white dudes. They're going to pay to look at you.
Right.
But I got to see you first." And so she just, takes her clothes off.
Just like that.
He sucks on her boob, and then she goes, "And just what do you think you're doing?" Wait, nobody would say that. Who would say that? He's like, "What the fuck, man? Get off me."
This is supposed to be she spins her heels and walks in the other direction, but she didn't talk about putting her clothes. So she says, "I said stepping back and putting on my clothes." Once you've decided to take off your clothes, you've essentially demeaned yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
No.
Nothing about it looks good, but I don't know that I believe that any of this happened. And if it did happen, it did not happen the way that she is describing it.
No, if it happened, I'd say it was one of those things where, like, I'm not going to say that she, the pimp fucked her, or, whatever. I don't believe any of it happened, first of all. But I believe that even in the made-up story, it's not about sex. Because remember the last part. Then he said, "I need more." He knew white men who would pay for certain services. It wasn't any big deal, according to him. Sometimes they'd pay money just to look at you. But the implication is he was going to make her a hooker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And so she's going to be a hooker. She's going to be a stripper. She's going to be, a porn star. She's going to be all this. She's going to be a drug dealer. All these, like, Dorothy on the demented yellow brick road turning into all kinds of, permutations. I mean, it's fantasy world, but even as fantasy, it's stupid, dumb fantasy.
Right. It's overkill. Like,
Yes.
that's why it's such bullshit, because everything is just so over the top. And she's like, I almost did it. Well, you didn't. Like,
But you
I don't
didn't,
know.
right.
Like, she has these stories over and over where she almost did something. She thought
Right.
about it. Ooh. Well,
Right.
that doesn't make you anything. We've all almost done some things.
Right.
We've
Like,
all thought some things.
Right.
mean,
I thought of suicide, but you didn't attempt it.
Yeah.
You didn't actually, like, I thought of becoming religious. Then I decided, no, I'm not turning. Then I decided, no, religion's not for me. Just like that.
That's the part about it. She's
people
so
who decide,
flippant.
yeah, if you decide, if someone makes the decision or gets close to the decision where they're going to turn to God, it's not an overnight thing. And you don't just as quickly on your heels go, look, fuck that. It's a struggle. Like you like, once you've gotten to that point, you're pretty much already 1 foot in the church.
Yeah, and people that like legitimately are so depressed that they are really thinking about killing themselves, that's a bad state to be in.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you don't just get up one day and be like, I changed my mind.
Well, we covered it on the Sally Jesse Raphael appearance that I covered with Sam, the two-parter, when she goes, she flippantly says, I toyed with suicide, but I never really did it. But the whole premise of one of the what do they call them, the leaders on the the captions in front, the graphics in front of her said, was suicidal or something like that, and then she blows it off. And let me see if I can find it real quick, because it's important to get that in the narrative. 1 sec.
Right.
So, guys, we're just going to play a little of the audio from the Sally Jesse Raphael show. It's worth putting it into context, this whole suicidal ideation that she claims she had, and this is the way you don't act this flippantly if it was for real.
Robin encountered a suicidal person because she herself at one point entertained thoughts of taking her own life. We're going to tell that shocking tale next.
I'll edit this out. I'll just go straight in.
Dumb face.
What a fucking, that awful fucking.
Ugh.
Okay.
Welcome back. We're talking with half of that team, and I give her co-billing. If he doesn't, I do anyhow. Her name, she's radio personality Robin Quivers. Life wasn't always easy. She has been very open in discussing that she often entertained thoughts of suicide. And we said, let's talk about this. Tell me why.
Oh, in the depths of depression, when I didn't think things were working well and that I was possibly going to lose the opportunity to do whatever it was I wanted to do or never see my dreams come true. I didn't really examine at the time what those deep-seated feelings of failure were all about. But when it seemed that I was not going to be able to do what I wanted to do, oftentimes my out would be suicide. Well, if it gets too bad, if I feel too bad, if I can't take it anymore, I can just kill myself. And that was a way of sort of getting through the whatever was going on at the time. It happened a number of times during my career, but I would think that the worst times were that period in the Air Force when I really wanted to get out and they wouldn't let me. And then when we were hired by WNBC, the radio station that
Only he was hired, you weren't hired.
Not at first.
Yeah.
And then when we got to NBC, it was a real awful situation. We weren't welcomed with open arms, and it was a very difficult time, and we got a lot of negative pounding.
I remember.
So she brushed off the suicide thing completely, and
Yeah.
it's a disservice to people who are really struggling with mental illness or emotional problems. And I find it incredibly, it's disingenuous, and it's really something that she should be called out for even years later for being so flippant about something that's very
Hmm.
serious.
Yeah. She's using it as a marketing tool
Yeah,
for all this stuff. And she couldn't even come up with a good reply of when she really felt it. She just was like, "Oh, when I wasn't going to get what I wanted."
right. That's going to be my
Okay.
out. That's not what
What?
people that decide to commit
No.
suicide, it's not because they couldn't be famous, they're going to kill themselves. They do it
Right.
because there's like a real trauma or something
Mm-hmm.
they just can't get beyond, and for that moment it makes sense. And they may not
Yes.
actually do it in other situations, but like it makes sense in the moment of the attempt, whether they succeed or not. And it's not something about and it was something that was explained. I talked about it a little bit before in the show, and how Henry Rollins was taken to task for his L.A. Weekly column when he said Robin Williams killed himself, and he thought the first article he wrote about it was he had kids and he was a coward and all this stuff, and then he got loads of letters of people saying like,
Hmm.
you don't understand depression. Let me explain it to you. It's like
Yeah.
for that 1 second it makes perfect sense, but the
Hmm.
rest of the time you don't know. Maybe it'll never happen. And that it's not cowardice. It's a moment where things align a certain way, and it's not something to be laughed at, or it's not something to be considered. Or if the person's weak at that moment, it's not being a coward.
Well, no, it's not being a coward. And some people will say it's selfish leaving behind your family or whatever. Well, you don't know what it's like to feel so hopeless.
And low.
You're yeah, you're so low, you don't think you'll ever get out of it. It
Right.
really is a desperate feeling. Like these
Hmm.
people are just in pain to the point that we can't fully understand
Hmm.
at all.
Yep. The when we go into the cocaine thing, let me just see if I got the rest of the audio here, because it's only a little bit left of this cliff, guys.
Being back and putting on my clothes. I finally put it all together. Mel was a pimp, and the guy at the employment office was a spotter. They were trying to get me strung out and then turn me out. That nice guy at the employment agency must have been an expert at picking out women at the end of their ropes. Mel was simply waiting for me to run out of money. Well, I wasn't waiting around for that. I found the number for the YWCA in the Yellow Pages and got a room for $15 a night, including meals. I
Okay.
figured I must have been a real mess. Why else would Mel and his friend have zeroed in on me?
No, you weren't. Well, you were a mess, but you were just incredibly stupid. If this was the story that we are going to go by, again,
Right.
the narrative stinks. If you wanted to be this independent, like you want to show that you struggled. You don't show a struggle where you were a complete knob most of the way through, and then you include these fantasy what if bullshit stories. I've never read anything like this in my life, and hopefully never will.
No, I don't think there is anything like this in existence anywhere
No,
else.
not in fiction and not in nonfiction.
Oh, uh-uh.
Aren't
This
we
is,
straddling the
well,
line of like just the ramblings of a madwoman in a journal?
yes, this is like lunatic fiction. Like it is like,
Do you think just before we close off, do you think that the staff like Jackie and them were actually cognizant of how, first of all, how nuts she was, and how if they really needled her about certain things in the book, she wouldn't be able to take it, and that's why they let her off easy in a way?
yes, yes. I don't know if they talked about it behind the scenes or if it was an unspoken rule, like you just roll with it. We're going to make fun of what we make fun of, but
Yeah.
then we're not going to go too far with it because they knew she was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think you're dead on with that, and I think it's a fair assessment. You guys let us know in the comments what you think. In the meantime, Lady K has the dedication for this one, and she'd like to give it to you
Oh,
guys.
yeah. That's right. So I love the movie Donnie Darko, and I'm just going to say that because I watched it again this week and I love it so much. And one of the songs in it, I forgot about the song until I heard it, and it just was like, oh my God, I love this song. It's Under the Milky Way by The Church. I love
Perfect.
it. Love it.
And also a thank you to you for maintaining that Spotify playlist. It's getting larger than the list of friends that Howard has, and friends rather. Any shout outs, my dear, before we close off?
No, I don't think so. Just to everyone out there in the QF family.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being along for the ride on this one, and thank you to all the people listening and watching, as the case may be. And we've got loads of episodes in store for you. So have a great Thanksgiving. If you've already had it, that's wonderful. By the time you hear this, and hopefully you won the wishbone snap, and your whatever wish came true. So take care, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. We love you.
Bye.
You know what I mean? For a burrito?
Well, they had a problem.
I like that
they got a whole no, I knew it was
There's your
there.
burrito.
I knew it was
Go ahead, eat.
There it goes. I don't want it to get cold.
There
Thanks,
you go.
Rich.
Look who just got happy. There's my burrito. Somebody's hungry.
That's exactly right.
It's feeding time.
Put something in his fucking mouth.